The notes.
The adjective has three closely linked meanings: beautiful, therefore loved by one's husband, therefore fortunate. See fifth 3, knaves of the chariot wheel in 1.164, 0.2, and 1.164, 0.48.
10.86. Indra and the Monkey.
This hymn, which Renu has called the strangest poem in the Rig Veda, deals with conflict and resolution on at least 4 levels. Alluded to in a conversation between 4 people, Indra and his wife, and Vrsa, whose name means the monkey bursting with seed, and his wife. On the household level, there are crude arguments in which Indra accuses the monkey, a favorite of Indra, of having taken sexual liberties with her. Indra tries to calm her with flattery, and Vrsa's wife alternately flatters her, engages her in sexual banter about their husband's powers, and insists either that Vrsa never touched Indra or that now at least he has ceased to do so. Finally, Indra relents and asks the monkey couple to resume the menage a quatre. This aspect of the myth places it among other bawdy and worldly hymns, usually set in the form of conversations. The myth also suggests a chain of events involving sacrifice. At a time before the conversation in the hymn takes place, Indra has ceased to be worshipped or to be given the soma. In the course of the hymn, he is then given in place of soma another kind of offering, which he accepts, an offering of bulls, vs. verse 13 and 15. An oblation mixed with water, vs. verse 12, or a pleasing mixture, vs. 15. Substitutes for soma were common in Vedic and post-Vedic India, and any of these might have been used. These 2 levels, the household and the sacrifice, are linked by a third, which is merely implied. The substitute offering transfers the monkey's sexual powers to Indra, perhaps through the sacrifice or castration of the animal, referred to obliquely in V5, and the drinking of a mixture, V5, and V12 and 15 again, made from his genitals 1. A ceremony that ensures that Indra will never die of old age, Vs 11, while simultaneously transferring Indra's sins to the monkey, V22. This aspect of the hymn suggests that it might be viewed in the context of a Vedic fertility ritual separate from the orthodox soma tradition. A 4th level, a variant of the 2nd, is the agonistic banter between poets/priests sacrificing on behalf of 2 different gods, Indra and the demigod Vrsa. Each side mocks the god of the other faction. This would explain the refrain, which is unique to this hymn, but is of a widely used general format. In answer to a series of challenges, Indra's supremacy is constantly reaffirmed. Finally, if one accepts the tradition, following Sayana, that Vrsa is a son of Indra, yet another level of meaning arises, a variant of the first, in which the son challenges the father, unsuccessfully, for the sexual favors of the mother. Indum says they no longer press the soma, nor do they think of Indra as God, now that my friend Vrsa has gorged himself on the nourishments of the enemy. Indra supreme above all. Indra, you pass over the erring ways of Vrsa. No, you will not find soma to drink in any other place. Indra supreme above all. What has this tawny animal, this Vrsa, done to you that you are so jealous of him and begrudge him the nourishing wealth of the enemy? Indra supreme above all, that beloved Vrsa whom you protect. Indra, let the dog, who pants after the wild sow, bite him in the ear. Indra supreme above all. The ape has defiled the precious, well-made, anointed things that are mine. I will cut off his head, and I will not be good to that evildoer. Indra, supreme above all. No woman has finer loins than I, or is better at making love. No woman thrusts against a man better than I, or raises and spreads her thighs more. Indra, supreme above all. Oh, little mother, so easily won, as it will surely be, my loins, my thigh, my head seem to thrill and stiffen, little mother. Indra, supreme above all. Your arms and fingers are so lovely, your hair so long, your buttocks so broad. You are the wife of a hero, so why do you attack our Vrsa? Indra supreme above all. Indra impostor has set his sights on me as if I had no man, but I babe a real man, for I am the wife of Indra, and the Maruts are my friends, Indra supreme above all. In the past, this lady would go to the public festival or to a meeting place, 0.11. There she would be praised as the one who sets all in order, the wife of Indra, a woman with a man, Indra supreme above all. Wife of Vrsa. Indra in I is the most fortunate among women I have heard, for her husband will never die of old age. Indra supreme above all. I was not happy, Indrani, without my friend Vrsa, whose offering of this oblation mixed with water goes to the gods and pleases them. Indra supreme above all. Vrsa. Wife of Vrsa, you are rich in wealth and in good sons and in your sons' wives. Let Indra eat your bowls and the oblation that is so pleasing and so powerful in effect, Indra supreme above all. They have cooked for me 15 bowls and 20 so that I may eat the fat as well. Both sides of my belly are full, Indra supreme above all. Indra Sakapi's wife, like a sharp-horned bull bellowing among the herds of cows. A mixture is being prepared for you, Indra, that will please your heart and refresh you. Indra supreme above all. Indra is not powerful whose penis hangs between his thighs. That one is powerful for whom the hairy organ opens as it swells and sets to work. Indra supreme above all. Vrsa's wife. That one is not powerful for whom the hairy organ opens as it swells and sets to work. That one is powerful whose penis hangs between his thighs. Indra supreme above all. Indra, this Vrsa, found a wild ass that had been killed, a sword, a basket, a new pot, and a cart loaded with firewood. Indra supreme above all. I am coming forward, looking about and distinguishing between enemy slave and noble ally. I am drinking with the one who has prepared a simple brew. I am looking for an expert. Indra supreme above all. How many miles separate the desert and the plowed land? Come home, Vrsa, to the closer houses. Indra supreme above all. Indrani, come back, Vrsa, and we two will meet in agreement, so that you who destroy sleep may come again on the homeward path. Indra supreme above all. As you went home to the north, Vrsa, where was the beast of many sins? To whom, O Indra, did the insider of people go? Indra supreme above all. The daughter of Manu, named Parsu, brought forth 20 children at once. Great happiness came to her whose womb felt the pains. Indra supreme above all.
The notes.
This hypothesis, based rather loosely on the present hymn, is supported by correspondences between it and two important Vedic rituals. In the horse sacrifice, the horse is given the sword and several other articles here given to the monkey, VAH HP 1.162, 13:16. The stallion is killed and his virility transferred to the king after the queen has pantomimed ritual copulation with the stallion, corresponding to Vrsa's connection with Indran I. A ritual in the Atharva Veda 20.136 contains a dialogue replete with banter about the size of sexual organs, verses that reverse those of the present hymn, and references to intercourse with a supernatural woman, the great naked woman, Mahanagni, all of which characterize both the horse sacrifice and the present hymn. In the Atharva Veda ritual, moreover, the great naked woman is treated as a scapegoat, like Vrsa. These correspondences are intriguing, though by no means entirely convincing. DF 2.12.cf-10.28 and 4.18. This word, art, has an ambivalence based upon the agonistic sacrifice. It denotes one's best enemy, one's favorite rival. Here it refers to the enemy of Indra and the friend of Vrsa, the pious devotee of the latter rather than the former. A similar juxtaposition occurs in Vivo 19. Indran I refers sarcastically to Vrsa as her friend, in contrast to the enemy who is Vrsa's true ally. The text has the unmarked sex, wild pig, but there may well be sexual overtones best conveyed by making the animal female, a double entendre for the private parts of the goddess and the sacred instruments of the ritual. The first meaning lends sexual overtones to the head she threatens to cut off, an innuendo made explicit in V7, and the second places it in the context of a ritual beheading. That Indra and I is referring to her sexual charms is made clear by the following verse, in which she boasts that she is so consummate a bedmate that she certainly need not stoop to a liaison with Vrs Akapi. A triple entendre, a term of respect for a mother goddess, a term often used for a whore, or a possible indication that Indra and I really is his mother. It is also the term used in the sexual banter of the horse sacrifice. These ambiguities carry over into the next phrase. For a woman easily won is being insulted for her promiscuity, while a deity easily won is praised for her generosity to the worshipper. He may be bragging that he will soon have her again, or accepting either of the alternatives suggested by Indranai, that she will kill him, VV5, or allow him to have her, WV6, in which Vrs Akapi may misunderstand her implication that she is too good for him, an acceptance of the Liebestod that plays a part in later myths of the seductive, destructive goddess. He accepts her threat, and he lusts for her. End note. The verb connotes the rushing of blood to the surface of the skin, causing horripilation and erection. It indicates fear as well as desire, both relevant here. Fear of the goddess and desire for the woman. A pun. It may mean that she has no virile husband or that she has no heroic sons. Indra is her husband, and the Maruts are sometimes said to be her sons. Here, Indra contests the previous assertion that she has a husband to protect her. Double entendre, sacrificial meeting place or rendezvous. The public sacrifice is one made to gods with their wives, Indra and I with her man. The word denotes a woman who is beautiful, therefore loved by her husband, therefore fortunate in the most important way for a woman. Her husband will live long. This is a common metaphor for Soma. Versakapi's wife implies that even though her offering is not a Soma offering, it is just as good. Verses 16 and 17 have inspired many imaginative interpretations. Apparently, Indranai refers first to Vrs Akapi, whom she accuses of lacking power, both sexual and religious, and then to Indra, whom she praises for having this power. Versakapi's wife then retorts that Indra is not powerful precisely because he is sexually active, while her husband is powerful because he is not, if not necessarily formerly, celibate and self-controlled, a statement that she then supports with VR8. Moreover, Indra is sexually active because he represents potential power, while Vrs Akapi, apparently having already had Indra I, is now immune to sexual stimulation. The hairy organ is most likely hers, which opens in response to him, C.991.20.4. The verb also serves to describe the male organ, which swells in its excitement, and thus the hairy organ may be his. It is quite likely that the ambiguity is intentional. Seon A says that Indra and I speaks the first verse, wishing to have intercourse with Indra, and that Indra speaks the second, not wishing to have intercourse with her. In this gloss, the one who is not powerful, respectively, is the woman, who does or does not excite her husband. Indra, in refusing her, argues that his power lies in the fact that he is immune to sexual stimulation. Finally, one may see the reversals between the two verses as a result of the transfer of virile powers, rather than as a contrast between two static descriptions. In the first verse, Indra is not powerful, but the monkey is. In the second, the situation is reversed. The most likely interpretation, however, is that Indra and I praises the virile Indra and mocks the impotent Vrs Akapi in the first verse, and Vrs Akapi's wife praises the self-controlled Vrs Akapi and mocks the Priapic Indra in the second. These are all items used in a sacrifice of expiation for one who has violated a vow of chastity. They are also used in the horse sacrifice, for the stallion breaks a year's vow of chastity in this ceremony. The slave is the indigenous inhabitant, regarded as demonic. The ally is the conquering Aryan. See footnote 4. These two are further juxtaposed with the man who prepares a simple brew, the Soma substitute, to whom Indra prefers the expert, the Soma offerer. The contrast seems to be between the non-Aryan desert, where Vrs Akapi has been performing his vow of expiation among non-Somo offerers, and the closer houses of civilization under the plow, There may also be overtones of a contrast between a barren woman and one who has cropped. She may be referring to herself and Indra as a reconciled married couple, or to herself and Vrs Akapi as a reconciled illicit couple. A possible allusion to the rape of Indranai. The beast may be Vrs Akapi, the scapegoat who has taken Indra's many sins and given Indra his own fertile powers. Or it may be Vrs Akapi's wife, accused of inciting Vrs Akapi to his sacrilege against Indranai. Parsu's name means rib, as the wife of the first man and one who is said in many texts to be androgynous. She shares this anatomical description with Eve. Whether she is here identified with Vrs Akapi's wife, or indeed with Indranai, or merely stands for all womankind who benefit from the fertility of the gods, is an open question.
10.4. The Courtship of Goes, A.
The hymn begins and ends with an invocation to the Asvins. The central verses are set in the mouth of a woman, one of two instances in the entire Rig Veda where this occurs. And according to Indian tradition, Gose is actually the author of this hymn. Though women do speak in some of the dialogue hymns, they do not invoke the gods. And even here it is unlikely that Gose was in fact the author. In the hymn, Gose reminds the Asvins of the many people they have helped in the past, including at least one, Sinjara, who has regained his virility. In this context, it is relevant to note that the word for widow is also interpreted by the commentaries, here and elsewhere, as referring to the wife of an impotent man. The hymn continues with Gose's image of a happy marriage, v. verse 9, at which the bride's parents weep and reminisce, and people wear wedding clothes rather than funeral clothes, v. verse 10. She asks them to bless her future husband, v. verse 10. She asks them to bless her future husband in 11th and 13, and the hymn ends, as it begins, with a question about where the Asvins may be found, and the implied hope that they are going to the poet's house. Here is your brilliant chariot going, O heroes, and who has adorned it for its good journey as it comes, glorious at dawn, brought by thought and care morning after morning into house. After house. Where are the Asvins in the evening? Where in the morning? Where do they stop and where have they spent the night? Who invites you as a widow takes her husband's brother to her bed, as a young woman takes a young man to a room? Early in the morning you are awakened like two old men praised by a bard, and worthy of sacrifice you go into house after house. For whom do you remain in shadow, O heroes, and to whose soma offerings do you come like two sons of kings? Like hunters tracking wild elephants, we summon you with the oblation at dawn and at dusk. To the man who offers the oblation at the right time, you who are heroes and husbands of beauty, bring nourishment. Gos A, the daughter of a king, came to you, Asvins, and said, I beg you, O heroes, be with me by day and by night as you give power to the racehorse to win the prize of horses and chariots. You wise Asvins move about on your chariot, driving it like Kutsa to the houses of the singers. Your bees bring raw honey by mouth, as a woman brings honey in a pot. You came to the aid of Buju, you came to Vasa, you came to Sinjara IV and Usanas. The sacrificer enjoys your friendship. I beg for a favor, with your help. You Asvins rescue Kr, Sa, and Saya, you rescue the worshipper and the widow. You Asvins throw open the thundering cow pen with 7 mouths to give rewards. She has become a young woman, the young man has run away to her. Plants, wafting magic powers have sprouted and flow to him as rivers flow to a valley. On that day, he becomes a husband. They mourn the living, they are transformed at the sacrifice. Men have pondered deeply the long span. It is a blessing for the fathers who have arranged this. The wives are a joy for the husbands to embrace. We have not learned this. Tell it to us how a young man rests in the lap of a young woman. Let us go to the house of a bull full of seed and fond of cows. This we desire, O Asvins. Your favor has come, O Asvins, rich in prizes. Desires are becoming firmly rooted in hearts. As a pair, you husbands of beauty have become our protectors. Let us go as loved ones to the home of a good friend. Grant to the eloquent wealth and strong sons, as you rejoice in the house of a man. Husbands of beauty, make a ford where one can drink well. Clear away the hatred that stands like a post in the path. Where and in whose houses will they rejoice today, the wondrous Asvins, husbands of beauty? Who has detained them? To the house of what inspired priest or sacrificer have they gone?
The notes.
The other is the Apala song, 8.91, Lopamudra, 1.179, Yami, 10.18, Indra'a, 10.95, and Surama, 10.108. Kutsa is a friend and charioteer of Indra. As charioteers who travel to the houses of many noble men, the Ashvins will be the ideal matchmakers. The commentator identifies him with Atri, cf 1.116 and 5.78. The Asvins are asked to give cows as rewards, just as kings would reward Brahmins with cows taken from the royal cow pens. The 7 mouths are probably simply 7 gates, 7 being a recurrent number in the Veda. The lack of pronouns in this sentence leaves an ambiguity that may well have been intended in the original. One can speculate, our desires are rooted in your hearts, but perhaps this goes against the force of the verse, perhaps the hatred of a rejecting husband. Cf 8.9.0.4.
10.8.5. The marriage of Surya.
The divine prototype for human marriages is the hierogamy of Surya, daughter of Surya, the sun, and Soma, here for the only time in the Rig Veda regarded as the moon, as well as the sacred plant and its expressed juice. Later marriages are modeled upon this one, and the bride is called Surya. The first 19 verses refer to the myth of the marriage of Surya and Soma. Subsequent verses also refer back to Surya, Zf 20, 35, and 38, and to Soma, 40, 41, though the former seems merely to designate the bride and the latter is a reference to Soma in his other aspect, his droit de seigneur over all brides. Verses 20 to 47 present formulaic verses, some of a highly magical nature, to be recited at a wedding. The earth is propped up by truth, the sky is propped up by the sun. Through the law, the Adityas stand firm and Soma is placed in the sky. Through Soma, the Adityas are mighty. Through Soma, the earth is great. And in the lap of these constellations, Soma has been set. One thinks he has drunk Soma when they press the plant. But the Soma that the Brahmins know, no one ever eats that. Hidden by those charged with veiling you, protected by those who live on high, O Soma, you stand listening to the pressing stones. No earthling eats you. When they drink you, who are a god, then you are filled up again. Vayu is the guardian of Soma. The moon is the one that shapes the years. The Ribai meter was the woman who gave her away. The Narasa MC meter was the girl who accompanied her. The fine dress of Surya was adorned by the songs. Intelligence was the pillow, sight was the balm. Heaven and earth were the hope chest when Surya went to her husband. The hymns of praise were the shafts, and meter was the diadem and coiffure. The Asvins were the suitors of Surya, and Agni was the one who went in front. Soma became the bridegroom, and the 2 Asvins were the suitors, as Savya gave Surya to her husband, and she said yes in her heart. Thought was her chariot, and the sky was its canopy. The 2 luminaries were the 2 carriage animals when Surya went to the house. Your 2 cattle, yoked with the verse and the chant, went with the same accord. You had hearing for your 2 wheels. In the sky, the path stretched on and on. The 2 luminaries were your wheels as you journeyed. The outward breath was made into the axle. Surya mounted a chariot made of thought as she went to her husband. The wedding procession of Surya went forward as Savi sent it off. When the sun is in Aga, they kill the cattle, and when it is in Arjuni, she is brought home. When you Asvins came to the wedding in your 3-wheeled chariot, asking for Surya for yourselves, all the gods gave you their consent, and Pus An, the sun, chose you as his 2 fathers. When you 2 husbands of beauty came as suitors for Surya, where was your single wheel? Where did you 2 stand to point the way? Your 2 wheels, Surya, the Brahmins know in their measured rounds. But the one wheel that is hidden, only the inspired know that. To Surya, to the gods, to Mitra and Varune who are provident for all creation, to them I have bowed down. These 2 change places through their power of illusion. Now forward, now backward. Like 2 children at play, they circle the sacrificial ground. The one gazes upon all creatures, and the other is born again and again, marking the order of the seasons. He becomes new and again new as he is born, going in front of the dawns as the banner of the days. As he arrives, he apportions to the gods their share. The moon stretches out the long span of life. Mount the world of immortality, O Surya, that is adorned with red flowers and made of fragrant wood, carved with many forms and painted with gold, rolling smoothly on its fine wheels. Prepare an exquisite wedding voyage for your husband. Go away from here, for this woman has a husband. Thus I implore Visbhavasu with words of praise as I bow to him. Look for another girl who is ripe and still lives in her father's house. That is your birthright. Find it. Go away from here. Visbhavasu, we implore you as we bow. Look for another girl, willing and ready. Leave the wife to unite with her husband. May the roads be straight and thornless on which our friends go courting. May Ahriman and Bhaga united lead us together. O gods, may the united household be easy to manage. I free you from Varona's snare, with which the gentle Savitri bound you. In the seat of the law, in the world of good action, I place you unharmed with your husband. I free her from here, but not from there. I have bound her firmly there, so that through the grace of Indra she will have fine sons and be fortunate in her husband's love. Let Pusan lead you from here, taking you by the hand. Let the Asvins carry you in their chariot. Go home to be mistress of the house with the right to speak commands to the gathered people. May happiness be fated for you here through your progeny. Watch over this house as mistress of the house. Mingle your body with that of your husband, and even when you are gray with age, you will have the right to speak to the gathered people. The purple and red appears a magic spirit. The stain is imprinted. Her family prospers, and her husband is bound in the bonds. Throw away the gown and distribute wealth to the priests. It becomes a magic spirit walking on feet, and like the wife it draws near the husband. The body becomes ugly and sinisterly pale if the husband with evil desire covers his sexual limb with his wife's robe. The diseases that come from her own people and follow after the glorious bridal procession, may the gods who receive sacrifices lead them back whence they have come. Let no highwaymen lying in ambush fall upon the wedding couple. Let the two of them on good paths avoid the dangerous path. Let all demonic powers run away. This bride has auspicious signs. Come and look at her. Wish her the good fortune of her husband's love, and depart, each to your own house. It burns, it bites, and it has claws, as dangerous as poison is to eat. Only the priest who knows the Surya hymn is able to receive the bridal gown. Cutting, carving, and chopping into pieces, see the colors of Surya, which the priest alone purifies. I take your hand for good fortune, so that with me as your husband you will attain a ripe old age. Bhaga, Aryaman, Savitru, Purandi, the gods have given you to me to be mistress of the house. Puss and rouse her to be most eager to please, the woman in whom men sow their seed, so that she will spread her thighs in her desire for us, and we, in our desire, will plant our penis in her. To you, first of all, they led Surya, circling with the bridal procession. Give her back to her husband's Agni, now as a wife with progeny. Agni has given the wife back again, together with long life and beauty. Let her have a long lifespan, and let her husband live for 100 autumns. Soma first possessed her, and the Gandharva possessed her second. Agni was your third husband, and the fourth was the son of a man. Soma gave her to the Gandharva, and the Gandharva gave her to Agni. Agni gave me wealth and sons. And her. Stay here and do not separate. Enjoy your whole lifespan playing with sons and grandsons and rejoicing in your own home. Let Prajapati create progeny for us. Let Ahriman anoint us into old age. Free from evil signs, enter the world of your husband. Be good luck for our two-legged creatures and good luck for our four-legged creatures. Have no evil eye. Do not be a husband killer. Be friendly to animals, good-tempered and glowing with beauty. Bringing forth strong sons, prosper as one beloved of the gods and eager to please. Be good luck for our two-legged creatures and good luck for our four-legged creatures. Generous Indra, give this woman fine sons and the good fortune of her husband's love. Place 10 sons in her and make her husband the 11th. Be an empress over your husband's father, an empress over your husband's mother. Be an empress over your husband's sister, and an empress over your husband's brothers. Let all the gods and the waters together anoint our two hearts together. Let Matarizvan together with the Creator and together with her who shows the way, join the two of us together.
The notes.
The first soma in this verse is the drink that strengthens the gods. The second is the plant that grows on earth, and the third is the moon. Verses 3 to 5 play upon the different somas, the plant that is pressed, the god that the Brahmins know, the god protected in heaven, the plant between the pressing stones, the juice that they drink, the moon that is drained of soma and filled again, waxing and waning. 7 gods guard soma, among whom Vayu is foremost, see verse 5. 2 Vedic meters used in the wedding hymn. Their grammatical gender is feminine. The song's gathas are feminine like the meters. They may be personified as women helping Surya to dress or as adornments actually stitched upon the dress. The word may refer to the dowry, C5, 10.1350.5, of the chariot that takes the bride to the home of the bridegroom, CFD, the magical chariots, in 10.135 and 1.164. The Asvins are elsewhere said to be the brothers and/or the husbands of Surya, but here they are the unsuccessful suitors. They are in any case her brothers. Agni heads the procession and serves as the messenger, his usual function. Savit is here another name for Surya, the father of the bride, probably a designation for the 2 months of summer regarded as particularly auspicious for marriages. 2 constellations of summer. The cattle are slaughtered for the wedding feast. Pusan is, like the Asvins, both a brother and a lover of Surya. Here he is the son of the Asvins who choose Surya for themselves instead of acting as intermediaries. Pusan is also, appropriately, as the god of safe roads and journeys, the one who supervises the wedding procession. Here, and in verse 14, the 2 wheels of the solar chariot, identified by Sayan A as the sun and moon, are contrasted with the mysterious single wheel, perhaps the nocturnal sun or the year, C.1640.2, the path to the secret sun in heaven or the path to the groom's house. After the verse of closing benediction, V verse 42, 2 more verses describe the sun and moon before turning to the human bridal couple. The heavenly bodies circle in the sky, as the married couple will soon, V verse 38, circle the fire. The second half of verse 18 refers first to the sun and then to the moon. Is life, or the life of the gods, or of the sacrificer, or just time in general. The bride is addressed as Surya, as is Surya herself, and the verse refers to both at once. The chariot that takes the bride to the house of the groom is here assimilated to the world of immortality that Surya wins in the sky. Kim Sukha flowers and Sal Mali wood. A Gandharva who possesses girls before their marriage. This verse and the next are an exorcism against his droit de seigneur, like that of Soma, C540, Visvavasu, Soma, and the Asvins are all rejected suitors. This is a benediction to the families of the bride and groom, and perhaps in particular for the disappointed suitors. Savich is the father of Surya. In this verse, the bride loosens her braids as a sign of release from her parents' house, a binding that is metaphorically attracted to the well-known bonds or snares of Varun, AC 7.8.6.7.89, from her parents' house, but not from her husband's house. This formula usually refers to the right of a man to speak in the assembly. It may mean that here, or refer to the wife's right to command servants. This is a benediction as she enters the house of the groom. Verses 28 through 30 and 34 through 5 concern the defloration of the bride and the staining of the bridal gown with her blood. This blood becomes a magic spirit, potent and dangerous, though not necessarily evil. The defloration is an auspicious event, but too powerful to allow its emblem to remain present afterwards. The power of the blood is transferred to the bride's family and to the husband. And though this is a good power, it becomes evil if allowed to pollute the husband, or to compete with the wife herself as an alter ego. Verses 29, by exercising his droit de seigneur, Soma takes upon himself the first and most powerful stigma of the blood of defloration. Double meaning, the bonds of marriage that unite them, and the magic lines drawn by the blood on the gown. That is, it enters the groom when the bride enters the house, almost certainly the body of the husband. This verse is to be spoken if the bridal party encounters a funeral procession on the road. Verse 32 is to be spoken at a crossroads. The robe again, as in verses 28, 30. Literally, this verse describes the cutting up of the robe, but the words usually refer to the cutting up of the sacrificial animal, and there is a further overtone of the physical injury of the defloration itself, the sacrifice of the maidenhead on the altar of marriage. A reference to the bride in terms of the paradigmatic Surya. The colors are the purple and red of the blood, the 28, the good fortune of being beautiful and therefore loved by her long-lived husband, as in verses 25 and 33. Gods who are concerned with marriage. Purandi is the bringer of abundance. Here invoked not as the son of the Asvins, as in the myth of Surya, 14, but as the god of safe roads and journeys, and as the one who prepares the bride for the sexual act. This may refer to the priests, but more likely refers to the various divinities who possess the bride before her marriage, the Gandharvas, like Visvavasu in verses 21-2, Soma, 40-41, and in particular Agni. This is addressed to the bridal couple. Here and in verses 44 and 47, auspicious unguents are placed on the bridal couple to ensure good fortune and, perhaps, here the action is metaphorical and intended to bestow long life. In verse 44, the ointment is placed on the bride's eyes to prevent the evil eye, and in verse 47, it is placed over their two hearts to make them soften and fuse. The unguent on the widow's eyes in 10.180.7, a general hope, as well as a reference to the particular evil sign represented by the blood of defloration, 28-30, 34.5. Domestic animals, passus. A strange wish. Later Hindu tradition regards the husband as being reborn as the son of his wife. This verse may merely imply that she should care for her husband as the 11th male dependent upon her, assistant and messenger of Agni, an unknown goddess perhaps responsible for showing the bride the way to her husband's home and heart. Atharva Veda, November 4th, 12.
1029. The rape and return of the Brahmin's wife.
This hymn exhorts the king to restore the Brahmin's abducted wife. It alludes to the parallel instance of the myth of Soma's abduction and return of the wife of Brihaspati. The two parallels are closely intertwined. Soma is called a king, an epithet that he has even when he is regarded as the incarnation of the sacred Soma plant and Soma drink, an aspect of the god not immediately relevant to this hymn, and so he is said to give back the wife of Brihaspati, both as the culprit, the adulterer returning the woman to her husband, and as the king, every two, whose responsibility it is to see justice done. Moreover, since the god whose wife Soma abducts is Brihaspati, lord of sacred speech, the Brahmin of the gods, the poet is able to speak of Soma returning the Brahmin's wife. Moreover, Soma gives back all brides after he has exercised his droit de seigneur, see 10.85. Verse 2 is thus an extended pun. Soma returns the wife of Brihaspati as the king returns the wife of a human Brahmin. An equivalent ambiguity may be seen in the question of the sin or offense for which the hymn seeks expiation. When the poet refers to such expiation, one assumes that it is meant to apply to Soma's offense, but later Hindu tradition regards the offense and the expiation as that of the husband or even of the wife. As Sayane tells the story, speech was the wife of Brihaspati. One day she offended him because she was so ugly, and so he abandoned her. Then the gods, deliberating among themselves, made her free from offense and gave her back to Brihaspati. The hymn allows of either interpretation, since the phrase Brahmin offense in the first verse could be either an offense by a Brahmin or one against him, and verse 7 does not say whose expiation is being performed. But the hymn itself does not blame the Brahmin or his wife, and one is inclined to think that the poet wishes to expiate the sin of the adulterer and to purify the adulterous god, Soma. These were the first to speak about the sin against the Brahmin, the boundless ocean, Matarisvan, the fierce flowing heat, strong fire that brings the force of life, and the divine waters, who are firstborn in the sacred order. King Soma was the first who gave the Brahmin's wife back again without a grudge, Varun and Mitra agreed to go with her, and Agni, the summoning priest, took her by the hand and led her back. He must be grasped by her own hand as a token when they have said she is the Brahman's wife. She did not stay for a messenger to be sent. Thus is the kingdom of a ruler protected. The gods and the 7 sages who settled down to asceticism in the ancient times spoke about her. The wife of a Brahmin is dangerous if she is taken away. She plants disorder in the highest heaven. He lives as a chaste student, a servant eagerly serving. He becomes a limb of the gods. In that way, Br Haspati won back his wife again when she had been carried off by Soma, just as the gods won back the sacrificial spoon taken by Soma. The gods gave back again, and men gave back. Kings, keeping their promises, should give back the Brahman's wife. When they gave back the Brahman's wife and with the gods' aid erased the sin, they enjoyed the rich essence of the earth and then went on to the wide-striding realm.
The notes.
An assistant of Agni, sometimes identified with the wind. Tapas, ritual or ascetic heat. See foot post 10.1-1. Fire as an element. Soma, the Gandharva, and Agni are the 3 immortal husbands of the bride before she marries a mortal. October 85th post 40. This verse seems to say that Br Haspati himself must take her by the hand and not a messenger. But Sayane suggests that the gods ate here, speaking to Br Haspati, and it may be that he is her son, a token of their union. Later myths tell us that a son, Buddha, was born to Soma and restored to his father in a similar way. He is probably Br Haspati, who lives in chastity because he lacks a wife. By serving the gods zealously, he obtains their aid in winning her back. There is an elaborate pun in this verse. Ju designates a special spoon used in the Soma sacrifice. It is therefore taken by Soma. Speech, 0.31.13. It also comes to mean speech, personified as the goddess of speech, who often leaves the gods and must be brought back again, like Br Haspati's wife. Sayan A says that Juhu is the name of the wife of Br Haspati, but this renders the metaphor pointless. Heaven, the realm of Viz Nu who strides across it.
10.122 Magala's wife and the bull in the chariot.
This mysterious dialogue hymn conceals an erotic and procreative myth in the tale of a strange chariot race. Sayane tells 2 versions of the story in his introduction. Thieves stole away all of Magala's cattle but one old bull. Yoking this remaining one to his cart, he yoked a wooden club, perhaps a horse or bull, named Wooden Club, to the other side and went after the thieves, taking back his own cows. The second version is shorter. Magala yoked a bull and a wooden club, went into battle, and won the combat. These commentaries do not mention the central role of Magala's wife, nor do they tell us anything of the nature of this mysterious wooden club or how it could be harnessed to a chariot, points which are somewhat but not entirely clarified by the hymn itself. The central image of the hymn is the chariot race that is simultaneously a battle and a search for cattle. These frequently overlap in Vedic thought, for the chariot race is a formalization of battle, like hunting in England, all the glory of war and only 70% of the danger. The sacrifice, too, included a mock cattle raid. This particular battle/race/raid is unusual in having 4 transformations. The charioteer is a woman instead of a man, Mudgala's wife apparently riding beside him. The part of the first racehorse is played by an old bull, and the part of the second racehorse is played by a wooden club. Much is made of the 4th transformation, that of an old cart into a racing chariot, a transformation which hinges upon the clever use of the piece of wood. In verse 7, the story as a whole, particularly the woman charioteer and the unusual chariot animal, bears a striking resemblance to an old Irish myth. This, together with notable parallels with Greek myths and Roman rituals, suggests an Indo-European origin for this strange tale. The hymn opens with Mugala's blessing on the race, v1.3, and a description of the beginning of the race, v1.4, and its outcome, v2. The opponents try in vain to stop the bull, v5, but he races all the faster, v6. The wooden club is attached, v9, and then it is led home in triumph, perhaps satirical, v10. The hymn ends with a benediction from the onlookers, v11, and from Mudgala, v12. Let Indra boldly push forward your perversely transformed chariot. O Indra, invoked by so many, help us in this race for fame and battle spoils. The wind whipped up her robe when she mounted the chariot and won 1,000 cows. For Mudgala's wife was the charioteer in the contest for cattle. Becoming the very army of Indra, she gambled and won the spoils. Hold back the thunderbolt 6 of the enemy who rushes against me to kill me, O generous Indra. Drive aside the missile of the Dasa or the Arya. The bull who was inspired to fight drank a lake of water. With a horn like a club, he rushed against the enemy attack and crushed it. The animal with heavy testicles stretched forth his 4 feet briskly, eager to win the race, longing for fame. The attackers excited the bull to bellow and to stale tight in the middle of the battle. Through him, Mudgala won as spoils of war 1,100 well-grazed cows. The bull rumbled as he was yoked. His long-mailed charioteers shouted. The droppings of the headstrong bull, who was running yoked to the wagon, struck Mudgala's wife. Cleverly, he struck off the rim of the chariot wheel and yoked the steer to it using all his force and skill. Indra aided the husband of cows. The humpbacked bull galloped with great leaps. The man with a whip and braided hair was successful in binding the wood to the rope. The bull performed the deeds of a hero for the great crowd, increasing in vigor as he looked at the cows. See over there the yokemate of the bull, the wooden club, lying in the middle of the racecourse. Through him, Mudgala won 1,000 cows and 100 in the races. Let all misfortunes stay far away. Who has ever seen such a thing? Hold on to the one that he yoked. They are not bringing grass or water to him. Going above the yoking pole, he pulls as if he wished to command the drive forward. She has won, like a despised wife who wins back her husband. Like a full-breasted woman who pours water even with the poor, let us conquer with a charioteer who is so eager and nimble. Let her prize be rich and auspicious. Mudgala, you, Indra, are the eye of the whole world, for you are the bull who strives to win the race, driving a bull with a steer for his yokemate.
The notes.
This is conjectural, as the term dragana is a half-fax that might be the name of a racehorse or even an evil fiend of some sort, but it is explicitly called wooden in verse 8. Some farmers in Bavaria and elsewhere do yoke a horse to one shaft and a cow to the other, or even leave the second shaft empty. See figure 1-1. 16.18 for 2 strange and unmatched chariot animals, and 1.164 for a mysterious chariot. The tail of the goddess Macha harnessed to a chariot when she is pregnant. The adjective perversely transformed implies that it is perverted from its normal haulage function to that of a war chariot for which it is unsuited. These spoils are the cows taken by the thieves, Sayana suggests. Indra is asked to repel the thunderbolt that is usually his own weapon, but here apparently designates a missile hurled by the enemy. It may also stand for a club, a doublet of the club, used by Mudgala, thrown by the enemy, perhaps to jam the spokes of the chariot wheel. The Dasa is the enemy, who is a native inhabitant of the invaded country. The Arya the enemy, who is another member of the invading force. Apparently, the attackers try to make the bull roar and urinate because he must stand still to do this and so will be delayed. Since the bull has just drunk a lake of water in the previous verse, he might stale of his own accord anyway. He may rumble as he stales. The verse is unclear, and it may be the cart or the wooden club that rumbles. The F. The rumbling cart in 10.1460.3. The long hair here indicates that the charioteer is a woman, in contrast with the charioteer with braided hair in verse 8. Apparently the droppings strike the charioteer because the bull is running so fast. The bull is excreting as he staled in the previous verse, because he is furious, and since he does not have to stop to do this, as he must do to stale, Mudgala's wife is in the direct line of fire. One might see connotations of fertility in the manure, but it is certainly a most peculiar verse. Mudgala. Through parallel constructions, the verse describes the castrated bull, the steer, as a metaphor for the wooden club that is yoked by Mudgala, and contrasts him with the galloping bull, the husband of cows, who is aided by Indra and whose deeds are further described in verse 8. The contrast between the bull and the steer is repeated in verses 9 and 12. This would appear to be Mudgala if it is in fact he who is the subject of the first part of verse 7, as seems most likely. But there may be a secondary reference to Pusan, the solar charioteer, who is also said to have a whip and braided hair, and who may be imagined as the divine companion in the racing chariot, standing beside Mudgala's wife in the form of Mudgala himself. The sight of the prize cows waiting to be given away at the end of the race course excites the bull. While the bull is given fodder after the race, the wooden club is not, of course. The wooden club going in front looks as if he feels himself to be the true driver, or so the onlookers joke. This verse has complex overtones. The basic image is that of the dark horse overcoming obstacles, the improvised chariot, to win, as a neglected wife wins back her husband. Mudgala's wife may have been thus neglected, either because she had borne no children, or perhaps because she was married to an old ascetic while she herself was young, eager and nimble in more ways than as a charioteer. By becoming the woman charioteer, she becomes prosperous, full-blooming, like a full-breasted, i.e., lactating, woman with children. Thus she wins her way back into her husband's graces, by winning the race, the prize, substituting for the children she never had. She is then like the potent bull, and he is like the impotent piece of wood or the poor water wheel. In this race, as in the sexual race won by Lopamudra and her old ascetic husband Agastya, 1.179, they win together. The pouring of water supplies the basis of the simile. The full-blooming wife of Mudgala prospers like an earthenware wheel that sprinkles water, a patent sexual metaphor. In the continued metaphor, Mudgala hopes to accomplish what the steer accomplished, while Indra helps his yoke-mate the bull, Mudgala's wife.
Incantations and spells.
The Atharva Veda is the locus classians for magic spells, but the later parts of the Rig Veda also contain many imprecations and chants. Some deal with white magic or medicine, 10.97, some with bad dreams, 10.164, or sleep, 7.55, and some with the problem of black magic or sorcery, 7.104. Many deal with the rites to passage. The wife hopes to overcome her rivals, 10.145, succeeds in overcoming her rivals, 10.145, wishes to become PR Egnet, 10.184, and to have a healthy child, 10.162. These life-affirming spells culminate in the wish that underlies so much of the Rig Veda, the wish that death will go elsewhere, at least for a little while longer, 10.184.
10.97 The healing plants.
A doctor praises the healing herbs that supply his medicines and blesses the man whose illness he hopes to cure. The tawny plants were born in the ancient times, 3 ages before the gods. Now I will meditate upon their 107 forms. Mothers, you have 100 forms and 1,000 growths. You, who have 100 ways of working, make this man whole for me. Be joyful, you plants that bear flowers and those that bear fruit. Like mares that win the race together, the growing plants will carry us across. You mothers who are called plants, I say to you who are goddesses, let me win a horse, a cow, a robe, and your very life, O man. In the sacred fig tree is your home. In the tree of leaves your dwelling place has been made. You will surely win a cow as your share if you win a man. He in whom the plants gather like kings in the assembly, that priest is called a healer, a slayer of demons, an expeller of disease. The one that brings horses, the one that brings soma, the one that gives strength, the heightener of strength, all these plants I have found to stretch out the health of this man. Like cows from the cow pen outstream the powers of the plants that will win wealth and your life, O man. Your mother's name is Reviver, and so you are the restorers. You are streams that fly on wings. Restore whatever has been injured. They have stepped over all barriers like a thief into a cow pen. The plants have driven out whatever wound was in the body. When I take these plants in my hand, yearning for the victory prize, the life of the disease vanishes as if before a hunter grasping at his life. He through whom you plants creep limb by limb, joint by joint, you banish disease from him like a huge man coming between fighters. Fly away, disease, along with the blue jay and the jay. Disappear with the howl of the wind, with the rainstorm. Let one of you help the other. Let one stand by the other. All of you working together, help this speech of mine to succeed. Those that bear fruit and those without fruit. Those without flower and those that bear flowers. Sent by Br Hespati, let them free us from anguish. Let them free me from the effects of a curse, and also from what comes from Varane, and from the fetter sent by Yama, and from every offense of the gods. Flying down from the sky, the plants spoke, that man shall not be harmed whose life we join. Of all the many plants in hundreds of forms, whose king is Soma, you are supreme, a remedy for need and a blessing for the heart. You plants whose king is Soma, spread out over the earth as you were sent by Brihaspati. Unite your power in this plant. Do not harm the man who digs you up, nor him for whom I dig you up. Let all our two-footed and four-footed creatures be without sickness. You growing plants who hear this, and those who have gone far away, all coming together, unite your power in this plant. The plants speak together with King Soma. Whomever the Brahmin priest treats, we will carry him across, O king. Plant, you are supreme. The trees are your subjects. Let the man who seeks to injure us be our subjects.
The notes.
That is, the 107 types or species of healing herbs. This, as in verse 8, is a direct address to the patient whose life is in danger. The sacred fig is the asvata. The tree of leaves is the par-ene. That is, if you win back the life of this man. Rocks, asis, local demons, not the grand asuras of heaven. A pun on iskrt and ni-skrt. The cure is depicted as killing the disease to save the patient. The particular disease named here, yaksa, is a kind of consumption. The mediator is a powerful king who remains neutral and intervenes between two warring kings. Brihaspati is the deity who presides over spells. Varun A sends a noose that consists in the disease of dropsy or other diseases. Offenses committed by men against the gods, bringing diseases down upon the offender, and offenses committed by the gods against men, offenses themselves consisting in diseases. CF 10.1-9-.1. The particular plant about to be used in the healing of the patient.
10.164 against bad dreams and sins.
The evil thoughts that ruin waking life, that ruin the work of the poet, and that ruin peaceful sleep are all to be banished by an otherwise unknown God, the master of thought. Go away, master of thought, get out and wander in the far distance. In the far distance say to destruction, the thought of a living creature is of many kinds. They choose the boon that makes them happy. They yoke the lead horse that makes them happy. The eye of the son of Vivasvan makes them happy. The thought of a living creature is of many kinds. If we have done something bad on purpose or not on purpose, or with the wrong purpose, wake or asleep, let Agni place fat away from us all these misdeeds that are displeasing. If we commit an offense, O Indra, O Brahmanaspati, let the prophet descended from Angiras 4 protect us from oppression by those who hate us. We have conquered today and we have won. We have become free of sin. The waking dream, the evil intent, let it fall upon the one we hate. Let it fall upon the one who hates us.
The notes.
The goddess Nur-Arti, chaos and death, CFC, CI 12.1, Yama, king of the dead. Probably Agni or Brihaspati.
7.55 sleeping spell.
Several different suggestions have been made for the context of this hymn. Sayan, it relates it to Vasisthi's hymns to Varune. Vasisthi, having fasted for 3 days, entered Varuna's house to get food. He spoke this hymn to quiet the watchdog. The hymn is also said to have been used by thieves and housebreakers, by lovers on secret nocturnal rendezvous in their mistresses' houses, by mothers singing it as a lullaby to their children, or by the domestic priest, Purohita, praying for a peaceful slumber for the inhabitants of the house. Lord of the house, you who drive away diseases and permeate all forms, be a gentle friend to us. White and tawny son of Sarama, when you bare your teeth they gleam like spears in your snapping jaws. Fall fast asleep. Bark at the thief or at the marauder as you run up and back again, O son of Sarama. But you are barking at those who sing Indra's praises. Why do you threaten us? Fall fast asleep. Tear apart the wild boar, for he would tear you apart. But you are barking at those who sing Indra's praises. Why do you threaten us? Fall fast asleep. Let the mother sleep. Let the father sleep. Let the dog sleep. Let the master of the house sleep. Let all the kinsmen sleep. Let our people all around sleep. The one who rests and the one who moves, and whoever sees us, we close their eyes tightly as we close up this house. The bull with 1,000 horns, who rises up out of the sea. With the help of that powerful one, we put the people to sleep. He, women, lying on benches, or lying in chairs, or lying in beds. The wives who smell good, we put all of them to sleep.
The notes.
CF 7.86, 7.89, and 7.880.5. This Rig Vedic hymn is specifically adapted to use by lovers in the Atharva Veda. 4.5 Ashtos Pati. The Lord of the House is a god to whom the previous hymn 7.54 is dedicated. This is usually an epithet of Soma, sometimes of Agni. Sarama is the eponymous ancestor of all brindled dogs, CF 10.108, and October 14th, 1011. The moon horned both in the sense of resembling when crescent the horns of a bull and of having the rays of moonlight shooting away from him like horns from the head of an animal.
10.145 Against Rival Wives.
This hymn is appropriately dedicated to Indra I, wife of the notoriously womanizing Indra I. Dig up this plant, the most powerful thing that grows, with which one drives out the rival wife and wins the husband entirely for oneself. Broad-leaved plant sent by the gods to bring happiness and the power to triumph. Blow my rival wife away and make my husband mine alone. O highest one, I am the highest one, higher than all the highest women, and my rival wife is lower than the lowest women, and my rival wife is lower than the lowest women. I will not even take her name into my mouth. He takes no pleasure in this person. Far, far into the distance we make the rival wife go. I have emerged triumphant, and you also have triumphed. The two of us, full of the power to triumph, will triumph over my rival wife. I have placed the plant of triumph on you, and grasped you with my power to triumph. Let your heart run after me like a cow after a calf, like water running in its own bed.
The notes.
The magic plant used in many Vedic spells. That is, the husband does not really love the rival wife or co-wife or other woman competing for the husband's love, who is not even worthy of being mentioned. The magic plant is here directly addressed as an ally. This verse is said to the husband, on whose head the plant is placed.
10.159 The Triumphant Wife.
This hymn, which is connected with a dawn sacrifice, PE 1 and 4, expresses a woman's triumphant conquest of her husband and banishing of her rival wives. Tradition associates it with Indran I, though she is never mentioned in the hymn. There the sun has risen, and here my good fortune has risen, being a clever woman and able to triumph. I have triumphed over my husband. I am the banner, I am the head, I am the formidable one who has the deciding word. My husband will obey my will alone as I emerge triumphant. My sons kill their enemies and my daughter is an empress, and I am completely victorious. My voice is supreme in my husband's ears. The oblation that Indra made and so became glorious and supreme, this is what I have made for you, O gods. I have become truly without rival wives. Without rival wives, killer of rival wives, victorious and preeminent, I have grabbed for myself the attraction of the other women as if it were the wealth of flighty women. I have conquered and become preeminent over these rival wives, so that I may rule as empress over this hero and over the people.
The notes.
Aga, the happiness that consists in being loved by one's husband, that is, to win out against all the other women, as well as to win over the husband. Session 10.145.
10.184 For a safe pregnancy and birth.
1. Let V's nu prepare the womb. Let Tvas tr shape the forms. Let Prajapati shed the seed. Let Datra place the embryo in you. Place the embryo Senavali. Place the embryo Sarasvati. Let the twin Asvins, the lotus-garlanded gods, place the embryo in you. With golden kindling woods, the Asvins churn out fire. We invoke that embryo for you to bring forth in the 10th month.
The notes.
The gods of this verse are all associated with various forms of begetting. These are goddesses who assist at birth. The churning of the fire sticks is a sexual metaphor, resulting in the birth of a child, who is fire, born out of water, the fluids of the ocean or the sky, as the child is born out of the fluids of the womb.
10.162 To protect the embryo.
Let Agni, the killer of demons one, unite with this prayer and expel from here the one whose name is evil, who lies with disease upon your embryo, your womb. The one whose name is evil, who lies with disease upon your embryo, your womb. The flesh eater, Agni has driven him away with prayer, the one who kills the embryo as it settles, as it rests, as it stirs, who wishes to kill it when it is born. We will drive him away from here. The one who spreads apart your two thighs, who lies between the married pair, who licks the inside of your womb, we will drive him away from here. The one who by changing into your brother, or your husband, or your lover, lies with you, who wishes to kill your offspring, we will drive him away from here. The one who bewitches you with sleep or darkness and lies with you, we will drive him away from here.
The notes.
Raks, as aces, earthly demons, the three stages of the embryo, just conceived, unmoving, and, in the third month, moving. Literally, deludes.
7.184 The demons in hell.
In banishing all evil spirits to a dark hole, a place that may prefigure the post-Vedic hell of the demons, the poet also takes the opportunity to wish evils upon the head of his rival priest, a sorcerer, who apparently accuses the author of the hymn of being a sorcerer. Indra and Soma, burn the demon and crush him. Bulls, hurl down those who thrive on darkness. Shatter those who lack good thoughts. Scorch them. Kill, drive out, cut down the devourers. Indra and Soma, let evil heat boil up around him who plots evil. Like a pot set on a fire, set unrelenting hatred against the fiend, the flesh-eating Brahmin hater with the evil eye. Indra and Soma, pierce the evildoers and hurl them into the pit, the bottomless darkness, so that not a single one will come up from there again. Let this furious rage of yours overpower them. Indra and Soma together roll the shattering weapon from the sky, from the earth upon the one who plots evil. Carve out of the mountains the hissing thing with which you burn down the demon who thrives. Indra and Soma roll it from the sky, with unaging weapons of heat that burn like fire and strike like stone, pierce the devourers, and hurl them into the abyss. Let them go into silence. Indra and Soma, let this prayer embrace you all around like the girth around two prize-winning horses. Like a pair of princes, urge on these prayers, this invocation that I send to you by meditation. Plot against them, swooping down swiftly, kill the demons who hate us and would break us to bits. Indra and Soma, let nothing good happen to the evildoer who has ever tried to injure me with his hatred. Whoever has spoken against me with false words when I was acting with a pure heart, O Indra, let him become nothing, even as he talks about nothing, like water grasped in one's fist. Those who casually seduce the man of pure heart, or who willfully make the good man bad, let Soma deliver them over to the serpent, or let him set them in the lap of destruction. Agni, whoever wants to injure the sap of our drink, of our horses, of our cows, of our own bodies, he is our enemy, a thief and a robber. Let him fall upon hard times, let him perish with his own body and his offspring. Let him with his own body and his offspring be beyond, let him be below all three earths. Gods, dry up the glory of the one who wants to injure us by day or by night. For the clever man it is easy to distinguish, true and false words fight against one another. Soma favors the one of them that is true, that is straight, he kills the false. Surely Soma does not push forward the one who is dishonest, nor the ruler who holds power falsely. He kills the demon, he kills the one who speaks lies. 0.6. Both of these lie in Indra's snare, as if I worshipped false gods, or considered the gods useless. Why, Agni, knower of creatures? Why are you angry with us? Gather into your destruction those who speak hateful words. Let me die at once if I am a sorcerer, or if I have burnt up a man's span of life. Let the one who falsely calls me a sorcerer be cut off from 10 heroes. The one who calls me a sorcerer, though I am not a sorcerer, or the one who says he is pure, though he is demonic. Let Indra strike him with his great weapon. Let him fall to the lowest depths under all creation. she who ranges about at night like an owl, hiding her body in a hateful disguise, let her fall into the endless pits. Let the pressing stones slay the demons with their rumblings. Maruts, scatter yourselves among all the peoples. Seek out, grab, and crush the demons who become birds and fly about at night, the ones who have injured the sacrifice of the gods. Roll the stone from the sky, generous Indra. Sharpen it completely when Soma has sharpened it. From in front, from behind, from below, from above, strike the demons with the mountain. There they go. The dog sorcerers are flying away. Viciously they wish to harm Indra, who cannot be harmed. Indra sharpens his weapon against the slanderers. Now let him loose his bolt at the sorcerers. Indra shattered the sorcerers, who snatched away the oblation and waylaid him. Indra splits them as an axe splits a tree, bursting apart the demons as if they were clay pots. Kill the owl sorcerer, the owlet sorcerer, the dog sorcerer, the cuckoo sorcerer, the eagle sorcerer, the vulture sorcerer. Indra, crush the demon to powder as if with a millstone. Do not let the demon of the sorcerers get close to us. Let the light blot out the fiends who work in couples. Let the earth protect us from earthly anguish, and the middle realm of space protect us from the anguish of the sky. Indra, kill the male sorcerer and the female who deceives by her power of illusion. Let the idol worshippers sink down with broken necks. Let them never see the rising sun. Look here, look there, Indra and Soma. Stay awake. Hurl the weapon at the demons. Hurl the thunderbolt at the sorcerers.
The notes.
A creature called Kimidine, who, according to the commentator, goes about saying, "What now?" Kimaidanim. The other demons in this hymn are generally identified as Raksas, S. The thunderbolt, cf. August 14th, 14, probably charioteers like the Asvins. To death by serpent's bite, perhaps, or to the great serpent Vrtra, Nirarti, or the one who speaks spells of black magic. That is, I don't worship false gods, so why do you punish me as if I did? Perhaps from 10 generations of heroic sons, or from the assistance that 10 heroes could render him in defense against the speaker. A witch or sorceress. Sorcerers who take the form of dogs or werewolves. Sorcerers in the forms of various animals. The light of dawn, that will end the power of the night roaming demons.
10.165 The Dove of Death.
The dove, the messenger of the god of death, is driven from the house. Gods, a dove has come here seeking someone, sent as a messenger by destruction. We will sing against him. We will perform an expiation. Let all be well with our 2-footed creatures. All be well with our 4-footed creatures. Let the dove that has been sent to us be kind. Gods, let the bird be harmless in our houses. Let the inspired Agni relish our oblation. Let the winged spear spare us. Do not let the winged spear attack us. It settles by the fireplace in the kitchen. Let all be well with our cows and with our men. Gods, do not let the dove harm us here. What the owl screeches is in vain. Vain, too, the settling of the dove by the fire. I bow low before Yama, before death, who sent this dove as a messenger. Drive the dove out, pushing him with a verse. Rejoicing in food, lead the cow around and wipe out all the evil traces. Let it fly forth, flying its best, and leave us strength to live.
The notes.
Nur-T, the dove is likened to a missile flying on wings. The bad omen of the owl's screech and of the dove's entrance into the house are both made naught. The dove, who is to leave behind it the strength of those in the house as well as, perhaps, of the dove.